Thank you so much for joining me today for this episode. We're going to be digging into the realities and the real life behind the scenes of a wedding photographer. When I started my business, I shot my first wedding in 2008. I really didn't know what to expect. All I knew was that I really enjoyed photographing weddings and I wanted to do that full time. I was studying architecture at the time, but I had no clue. Honestly, I had no idea what my lifestyle would be like. I didn't know what my finances would be like. I was just passion driven and I knew that I wanted to do this. That's it. And so for you, whether you are already photographing weddings, you're looking to see what it's like in my life currently as a mother and 15-year business owner, or maybe you've never even shot a wedding and you're actually wondering if this is something that you want to do, let's talk about it. I thought about listing off all of the hardships and then talking about all of the great things. But I figured if I did that, that maybe you would never pursue wedding photography. And that's not my goal. So I'm going to do the sandwich effect and I'm going to talk about some of the hardships, but I'm going to sandwich out the hard with the good or the bad with the good, if however you want to think about it. So thank you for being here. I also want you to know that at the end of this, if you're enjoying the content, there's more learning opportunities for you. I always in the descriptions will list out our free guides, our free master classes, and we also have some paid opportunities. We have a community that I lead of wedding photographers called the Wedding Photography Society. So check that out. And I'm just thankful for you being here. All right, so let's talk about it. So the reality of your work life is that if you truly want to be a successful wedding photographer, you are going to work outside of the weekends. I get asked a lot of times, well, what do you do during the week? I work on my business. It's not just a Saturday job. And that's a really big misconception. I actually didn't even realize that when I started photographing weddings. But after doing this, the reality is I do work 6 days a week. Even if my work days are shorter than maybe the average working professional, I'm working extra long days on Saturday for a slightly shorter weekday. I am working every single day. Every single day, I'm at my computer. I'm corresponding with clients. I'm planning for the wedding days. I'm editing. I'm having initial meetings for upcoming weddings, and I'm photographing sessions and rehearsal dinners. I wanted to acknowledge that because if you are thinking of this idea of I want to photograph weddings or I want to do this as my full-time job and I'll have another full-time job, it's really not realistic to do that. I think this job is very involved. It's you have to be truly submersed in it, especially if you want to pursue this full time. If you're looking to maybe photograph a handful of weddings a year, you can absolutely do this alongside another job. And interestingly enough, that was never my path. This was always my full-time gig. But now that I am running this community of wedding photographers called the Wedding Photography Society, it's opened my eyes to other photographers and their path. Even some of the courses that we've done, I've been able to connect and, it's just been eye-opening that some photographers are really using this as a way to supplement income or provide a creative outlet for them. And I think that's amazing. So truly, whatever your path is, know that you can do that. When I'm speaking about working 6 days a week, that is if this is your sole income. And also know that even if it is your part-time job, you're going to have overflow. You're going to have sessions or meetings or whatnot during the week that you're going to need to prep for. I already touched on one of the pros, I guess we can call it, but that is the level of creative freedom that comes from this job. Gosh, it's so nice having come from a creativity, a need for creativity as a child into architecture school where we were designing and learning. And then now to be able to actually have a job that's creative is really nice. And interestingly enough, I love the the photography, but I just love being creative about how to grow the business or how to make a better experience for the clients. Creativity for me is not just the art, it's the autonomy, it's the freedom, it's all of the things that are going to come from running your own business. in addition to the fact that it is an artistic occupation. So the creative freedom is huge. Very thankful for that because I think that's always been something I desired, but I didn't really like. I don't know. I'm just happy that it came to fruition. And if that's something you're seeking, this is a great profession for that. The next one is going to be about the pressures of wedding photography. I actually just recorded an entire episode just on that. So I won't dig in as detailed here, but definitely check out that episode. That's going to really give you an idea of some of the hardships that you will encounter and how to navigate them. But, just off the cuff, you're looking at high expectations from clients. You're looking at long hours. You're looking at irreplicable moments. Like all of those things are going to come from that wedding day hustle. It's a long day. I would say typically we start around like 9 or 10 in the morning prepping gear, packing, and I usually close my computer around 3 a.m. So when I say it's a long day, it's a long day. I don't even know if I mentioned that on the pressures of the wedding day episode, but like the truth is that the days aren't just about when you're actually holding a camera. Is your gear charged? Do you have memory cards formatted? Are your clothes ironed? Do you have food ready? Are you mentally prepared? Do you know the timeline? Then, of course, you start shooting. And then when you leave, it's transportation home, it's backing up gear, making sure that you have all of the images organized. Are you doing wedding day previews or are you just putting them on the cloud? And at that point, that's when I go to bed. So the wedding day hustle is very real, but personally, I find it very invigorating. That's not the pro. That's just like my perception of the wedding day hustle. I kind of love it. It keeps me going. I always wanted like a high stress, high energy environment, and you will definitely get that with wedding photography. So, a major perk is going to be the emotional gratification that will come from photographing weddings. This is probably my personal favorite part of what I do for a living. I never could have guessed that at this point in my life, I would have developed so many friendships, witnessed so many beautiful things. It has like changed my life. Um, trying to figure out how to even explain it. It's like witnessing one day in a person's life from start to finish that encompasses like all the people that they love, the person that they love the most that they're committing their life to, all the like thought and intention and sentimental elements that go into the day. It is like wild to pay witness to that and to document every little tiny thing from, like what they're wearing on their bouquet that represents their grandmother, and they're sharing these stories. Like I'm like, they know the stories, but they're telling me the stories that I'm documenting, right? They're like, oh, this was from my grandmother. And, we used to do this together. And like, that's why I have this like little tiny ice cream cone pinned on my bouquet. 'Cause she used to take me to ice cream like every Saturday, and she passed away and she couldn't be here a month ago. It's like, I'm hearing all of these stories, and not just like physical things, but like actual person to person interactions and exchanges. We've like documented some really sad exchanges of loss, some really joyful exchanges of gratitude. Maybe it's a mother honoring a bride honoring her mother on her wedding day and like telling her thank you for all of the years and all of the things that she's done in her life. And like, it makes me emotional. Again, it's really hard to explain it, which is why I photograph and I'm not a public speaker. But really, like from wedding photographer to wedding photographer, like I want you to understand what you're stepping into and understand that it will change your life. It will change how you see life. It will change how you think about life and appreciate it. I think I took for granted a little bit life before this job. And it's interesting because the longer I photograph weddings, the more I actually appreciate my own life. And I know that seems really deep, but like understanding who is there, Like, who is showing up for them on this most special day, who they care about, who they want in the room, and even seeing like the parents of the client and like who they invite and who's there for them and like how they speak on the wedding day about the couple, what they talk about in their toasts, the memories that they're sharing. It makes you think about like your own life and what are the things that they're talking about. They're talking about moments that I'm experiencing and that I need to appreciate. And so without doing the best job of explaining, and I understand that, like I am not probably doing the best job of explaining this. I just want you to know that like the emotional gratification that you will receive from doing this is, I have to imagine, pretty unmatched. Um, when I have heard exciting and sad things about our couples after the wedding, I feel it because yes, we may only know them for like a small window of time, but it just so happens that this particular window of time is all consuming and all revealing and very vulnerable and emotional and impactful. And so just be prepared. I won't talk about all of the pros this long, but like that one for me is huge. And I am so thankful. I'm so, so, so thankful for our clients giving us this honestly life changing career and honoring us in that. Let's talk about the reality of managing the business. When you're running a small business, especially in the beginning, like statistics say it takes, I don't know, 3 to 5 years for a business to take off the ground, for people to know who you are, and like for it to gain some traction. Those first 3 to 5 years are the hardest. They are years when you're going to question what you're doing. They're years when you're going to feel high levels of imposter syndrome and you're going to doubt that you're worthy or that you're good enough or that, like, why am I doing this? I'm not getting enough business. No one knows who I am. I'm never going to be that, blah, 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 blah. Just know it takes time. It's about the long game. And as a business owner, not just a wedding photographer, but business owners it's multifaceted. You're having to like correspond with people, track your books, manage your finances, know how to edit. Also, understand how to take photos because, by the way, that's really important. It's very involved and it takes a while to get it off the ground. And so I just want you to know going into this, and even if you are already in it and you're like looking to level up, that just be reminded it takes time and it is possible. And you're no different than anyone else in the sense that you can do it. You just have to put in the time and the hard work and show up with consistency. I have been a wedding photographer for a long time, but in full transparency, I am only a short ways into this education journey of helping other photographers, which I find really interesting because I know so much about weddings, but I know very little about education. And my goal is just to help people do this for a living. Like at the root of it, I just want to meet Catherine Guidry 15 years ago and let her know that, like, hey, girl, you can do this. Like, you can make a solid profession doing what you love. And like you out there listening, you can too. And so by following this method of learning and like execution and practice and all the things that I talk about on the podcast and YouTube and like in our courses, you can be successful by doing that. But just know that like the business side of it is multifaceted. You're going to feel stretched. It's going to take a while. And that's okay, because in the end, it'll be worth it. I am going to try to be a little quicker. I know I'm going on major tangents here, but let's dig into the industry friendships and the variety. I feel like with my personality type, I get bored very easily. And I also tend to want to be involved. Like, I'm not a surface level person. And so I needed a job that felt interesting, that felt varied. Like, I wanted to feel excited by the job over and over and over again. And I feel like wedding photography did that for me, and it will do that for you too, because it constantly is evolving and changing. I mean, even though I've been doing this for a long time, like I can't keep up with the amount of changes in the industry. Like just the ideas, the creativity, at the root of it, like marriage is still the same, but everything around it changes. And even just as the service provider, my day to day is different too. And I love that. I also love that I've been privy to meeting a lot of people, clients, their families, their friends, and then, of course, other industry peers that are in the industry, photographers, coordinators, planners, florists. Like, you just can't help but become friends because you see each other over and over again. This next one is going to be the last con that I'm going to address, but it's probably the biggest one, which is the struggle to balance work with life. I realize that any working professional to some degree is going to deal with this. But one of the main reasons why I've tried to expand my own personal network and connect with other wedding photographers who do this is because I've realized how isolating it can feel in an industry and in a job that's so niche and specific. Wedding photography is weekends, it is evenings. It's the opposite of like 90% of the people on the earth. I mean, society as a whole tends to work like 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. They're off on holidays, they're off on weekends. That's when we're working. And I've never actually like talked about it publicly before because I don't think I really realized it. I mean, that sounds silly to say, or maybe like, I don't know. It seems like the older I get, earlier on, I talked about the emotional gratification, right? Like, I talked about this idea that weddings have impacted my life and it's made me realize what's important. Interestingly enough, though, as a wedding photographer, you are there capturing those moments as they're happening. That's the job. So, as those things are happening, you may be missing out on something happening in your own life. I literally just got off the phone with my sister in law because, they're welcoming a baby this year. And of course, they're celebrating her. And I got the invitation and I can't go. And so, I mean, she's been in my family for almost 2 decades. Like, she knows that I work on weekends. And so it was no surprise, but it's disheartening sometimes to know that we are sacrificing our own weekends and special moments. And without going into like a ton of details of other things that we've missed, there are going to be times when you're kind of put up against this decision. Sometimes you will have to forego that personal obligation. And I say sometimes because, like, I did have a baby the day of a wedding and I couldn't get out of that one. Um, she was ready to be here. And so there are going to be also moments when you're met with the fact that you have to um, back out. I never thought that that was going to happen to me, but you know, I had a baby and like, I don't know what the future holds. I hope that nothing unexpected happens, again. But like, the point is, the work life balance is hard specifically because of when weddings take place. However, I think the trade off is worth it. I have thoroughly enjoyed my occupation. And that's why I think that an episode like this needs to be had, but also needs to be met with the pros. There are lots of amazing things that come with this job, and the rewards are incredible. I mean, even just outside of all the things I talked about, like the financial reward that I've been able to bring to my own family. I mean, I dreamed of buying my own home. I dreamed of having the ability to like pay for things for my family. And not only have I like become a full-time business, but it's been even more profitable than I could have thought in the beginning. I had no idea. I just thought I really want to photograph weddings because this is what I'm passionate about, but I didn't know the benefits of like the relationships and the emotional gratification and just like the client appreciation in general, it's so personal at this point. It's almost like an extension of myself. And so sometimes I'll feel like, well, I might be missing out on this thing, but I'm also gaining this other thing. And a long time ago, I met with a very wise man who I was chatting with about like a hardship in my life. And he was telling me that, like, essentially in life, you're never going to have like 100% of anything that you want. You're never going to feel 100% happy, like probably ever. You might have moments of insane happiness, but overall in life, there's always like a balance. And even with like who you are dating or married to, or your relationships with friends, your job, where you live, anything, like you're going to love some things and you're not going to love some things. And that's okay. That's life. I don't believe that there is anything out there that is 100%. Like I don't believe that. And if you feel differently, let me know. Like tell me you feel differently. But I just haven't ever found anything in my entire life. I mean, even my children, like I love my children. They are my kids. I mean, my girls, they're all of me, but like, are there moments when I feel like they hurt my feelings or I feel frustrated that they're not listening? Yes. Like that's what I'm saying. There's always that balance. And so I want you to walk away from this episode on a high note, knowing that this job is insanely amazing. I am highly passionate about photographing weddings, which is why I feel so passionately about educating. I want other photographers who really love weddings as much as I do to be able to be successful at it and to have it give back to them in the way that this career has given back to me. And so I hope that you feel the balance there, and that although I'm sharing some of the realities, that you're also understanding the benefits. And I also want you to know that I want to be a resource for you. I had some pretty impactful help when I was starting out my business like 15 years ago. Jasmine Starr was somebody that I followed. I read her blog. She was so life-giving and informational to me as I grew my business. And I feel like it's my time to give back in this industry. And so please connect with me. If you're enjoying these episodes, like screenshot them, share them, let me know you're listening, leave the reviews. If there's something you want to hear about, you can email me. You can join our society. There are so many ways that we can connect. I want to share more. I want to help more. Let me know how I can help you. Thank you for listening. I wish you the best. I hope to see you in the next episode. And I just appreciate you so much. Bye.